Good morning and welcome to the Voice of Charity. I'm Katie Bredemann here with my colleague Phil Zepeda. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Katie. Nice to see you.
Thank you. You as well. And we extend a warm hello to all who are listening on WNDZ, 750 AM here in Chicago, and all who are watching our live stream on YouTube and Facebook at Catholic Chicago. We hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family and friends. And today we're going to talk about a Catholic Charities program that's been growing steadily since early 2020 when the COVID pandemic started and devastated so many families in Chicago.
That's right, Katie. And like so many Catholic Charities programs, our burial assistance program helps so many people. The program just receives so many phone calls and emails from families who are just shocked and their lives upended when they lose a loved one. And while dealing with the sudden loss, they realize they don't have the funds to plan a funeral in their honor. It's just purely tragic. Tracey Blackburn is the Senior Program Manager in Catholic Charities Regional Hub Operations. She and her team members have been heroic, nothing short of heroic,
Absolutely,
in helping so many families provide dignified funerals over the past 4 years. And here to tell us about how the program works and where it stands today is the wonderful Tracey Blackburn. Tracey, we're so glad to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Good morning, Tracey. Thank you so much for being with us today. Can you give us a little bit of a history on the Burial Assistance Program? Is this a program that was in existence before the COVID-19 pandemic, or was it one of the ways that Catholic Charities responded to the onset of that, devastating crisis in Chicago?
Katie, I've served at Catholic Charities for 10 years, and it always brings me joy to share how Catholic Charity services grow and changes with the changing needs of our community. And yes, the Funeral and Burial Assistance Program was one of the many ways that Catholic Charities supported the community during the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2020, we saw a drastic increase of clients impacted by the pandemic and seeking financial assistance to bury their loved one, or seeking financial assistance with rent and mortgage and utilities due to funeral and burial arrangement costs.
So, Tracey, let's get into it a little bit more, and this is a pretty broad question, but tell us how the program works. And do you work with Catholic cemeteries, and are there certain funeral homes that we work with? Are funds provided directly to the family? Help us paint a picture of the program.
Okay. Our primary referral source is the Catholic Charities call center. Majority of our clients are referred to the call center by funeral homes, cemeteries, or other community and support programs, or word of mouth from a previous client. The call center collects the client's basic contact information and details regarding their need. Clients seeking financial assistance with funeral services are referred to a case manager. The case manager collects supporting documentation such as the invoice. The invoice are required prior to starting the application because the funds are provided directly to the vendor, so directly to the funeral home or cemetery. We also collect proof of income, identification, consent to service forms, and release of information to help us communicate back and forth with the funeral home, to support the grieving family. And the death certificate or death worksheet to ensure that it's an emergency need. So unfortunately, we do not assist with burying cremains or plots for future needs or previous funeral services or reimbursements.
Yeah, and I guess the case managers, they're heroic in these navigating these waters with these families. It's something that's so incredibly involved and emotional. And every situation has got to be different. It presents a new set of variables for these case managers in working with. So is there a set amount that's provided for these families for the burial assistance?
Yeah, so to your first question, yes, we work with funeral and Catholic Charity cemeteries as well. They're a part. But currently financial assistance vary based on the client's participation in the study to study the effects of funeral and burial assistance. And so all clients are eligible to receive $750 towards their funeral and burial services if they agree to participate in the study to assess the needs and also the outcomes of funeral and burial assistance. Then they can also receive an additional $250 up to $8,000 towards their bill. And so it depends on if they agree to the study, and then clients are randomized actually for the amount that they will
for the amount
receive.
that they receive. It's truly remarkable.
But what a blessing in their lives when they lose someone, oftentimes very suddenly, and they're overwhelmed with the thought of having to pay for those funeral expenses. To have someone as lovely as you just be able to share with them, it's okay. You're going to be able to provide a dignified funeral and celebration of life for that person. It must be such a blessing in their life, Tracey, to hear you explain the program to them.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Can you help us understand a little bit about how many families we're talking about here? Like how many did you serve in 2020, and then has that number fluctuated some in each year since then?
Yes. So, unfortunately, the need is great, and we continue to see an increase in families in need. In 2020, we served about 300 families, and so far in 2023, we have already served 700 families and continue and counting, actually, with over $1.5 million in financial assistance.
Tracey, I think it's important, and we'll share this at the end of the segment with you too. If individuals listening to the show are looking for more information, how can they get in touch with Catholic Charities Burial Assistance Program?
To learn more about funeral and burial resources, you can contact me directly at tblackburn@CatholicCharities.net. And for clients seeking financial assistance with funeral and burial resources, they can contact our Catholic Charities call line at 312-655-7700.
Excellent. Thank you, Tracey. 312-655-7700 for anyone listening looking to find out more information.
And that Tracey's email is tblackburn, BLACKBURN. I just want to clarify that for anybody in the audience. So tblackburn@CatholicCharities.net if you want to reach out to Tracey directly.
So, and Tracey, a little bit of a pivot. I'd love your thoughts here. Gun violence in our city has really caused so many senseless deaths, not only in our city, around the country. Can you share some stories that have come to your attention around families that we've been able to help through the burial assistance program that have been affected by this plague of gun violence?
Yes. Unfortunately, many families are left with yet another heartbreak almost every day after losing a loved one to gun violence. The unexpected deaths often cause a spiral effect that we notice. Aside from the tragic loss of a loved one, some victims are also the head of the household or greatly contribute to the household. So that can sometimes, cause a spiral effect or a downhill effect. The vast majority of the clients impacted are low-income households, typically with AMI under 40%, and many are just making ends meet. So unexpected crises such as gun violence has impacted in many ways. One of the stories that I can vaguely remember is a mother losing her teenage daughter who was walking home from school and caught in the crossfire. We provided not only financial assistance so that she could lay her child to rest, but also counseling supports to aid the family in their grieving. So we referred them to our counseling department within Catholic Charities. And oftentimes we see the need of clients needing more supportive services outside of just financial assistance to bury their loved one, because they have to now deal with the grief, because they also have to deal with maybe, rearranging their budget to now cover the costs that their loved one once did. And so providing those resources has been very helpful for our clients. Mm-hmm. Another story that I can remember is a family who was seeking financial assistance to bury their son. It was pretty hard for our case manager to get in contact with the family. We finally made contact about a week and a half later, where she mentioned that her nephew also was killed. And so they were dealing with the loss of her son at the same time, the loss of her nephew due to gun violence in the city. And so her biggest challenge was now burying two loved ones at one time, which we were able to assist with. Those are some of the stories that
especially tough.
And Tracey, what Katie and I always pronounce through these shows is Catholic Charities will help anyone in need. You've probably learned a lot about people of different faiths, right, coming to this, not just people of the Catholic faith, but we can help people in all different faiths with their funeral traditions. Anything to share with us on that topic?
Yeah, so I can't say that I learned much about individual traditions since it's not a part of our intake process.
Yeah.
However, we want clients to know that regardless of their race, ethnicity, tradition, faith, we are here to serve those in need. And so, what I do know is that families of different traditions share their gratitude in different ways, and I think that's very fulfilling for us here at Catholic Charities.
Yeah.
And so I know, take us back a little bit, Tracey. I know that it was in the height of the pandemic, it was really quite brutal, right? Many relatives who had a loved one in the hospital with COVID, and then that person subsequently died. They were lucky if they were included in by FaceTime as that person received last rites. I'm assuming that as you mentioned already a little bit, counseling is a very big part of the burial assistance program, isn't it?
Absolutely. And so that was very supportive during that time as well. Just having those counseling resources available for clients in need really helped to kind of, deal with that grieving process.
And that's the blessing of the Catholic Charities Network, right? That
Absolutely.
once you start talking to a family about burial assistance, you can help us ascertain, whether they could take advantage of other programs and services, including counseling. Am I right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
So important. And you brought this up a little earlier, Tracey, about this study. So what I know about this is Catholic Charities is working with Notre Dame's Wilson Sheena Laboratory for Economic Opportunity, also known as the LEO program. Talk to us about what's involved in this study.
Mm-hmm. So since this is a new fund for us, we want to kind of evaluate the effectiveness of funeral and burial resources and how can we broaden our reach? How can we make sure that we're supporting the community in exactly what they need in regards to funeral and burial, and also look at the trends at, what are the different amounts that, each funeral home and cemetery is charging clients and what will be best help suited for each individual for clients. And so that's a part of the study. The Notre Dame study is to evaluate the effectiveness of financial assistance for funeral and burial. And the long-term effectiveness in that. And so what it's looking at is what impact does funeral and burial resources or the lack of funeral and burial resources have on the community after the fact. And so, yeah.
It's great to work with academicians on this type of a program.
Right. No, it's fascinating. I'm just wondering, are you finding that the costs vary in neighborhoods and funeral homes across the city? And do you try to, help different funeral homes who seem excessive, realize that this is a family that's struggling, and you'd appreciate it if they would adjust their pricing for this family? Like, how does that work? Because I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure there is a variation in costs.
Yeah, I think with the data that we're receiving back from, the Notre Dame study will help us to inform that information and give back to funeral homes and then support us on how much we can assist with moving forward. So yes, that is also a part of the study. It's just getting more information as how we can best support.
That makes sense.
It does. And Tracey, as you look at the program in totality, what are the goals that you have that the program has for moving forward and supporting families through these times?
Yeah, I think basically through with using the data that we're collecting from the study, the goal is to analyze the effectiveness of funeral and burial resources and see how we can best support our clients. We're also looking to pull in additional resources, such as what are the community resources. We also refer clients who are veterans to the VA for funeral and burial resources, but what other programs are out there that we may be able to refer clients to in the absence of funds, or if they're not eligible for funds, or yeah.
And I know, Tracey, that your responsibilities extend far beyond burial assistance. You know, you're a senior program manager for Catholic Charities Hub Regional Operations. That's really an exciting new chapter for Catholic Charities. Can you tell us a little bit about how that's going and what are the goals for 2024?
Yes, I am very excited about Charities Hub. So I think we all work together at Catholic Charities, and our leadership team does an amazing job at looking up or taking advice from the ground up to build up our program. And so what was most needed, what we saw to be most needed in our agency is a universal point where clients can come to seek financial and supportive services at one spot. And so essentially that's what the hub will create. It will create a place for clients to come who are seeking service in both Cook County and Lake counties, where they could get the resources they need to promote self-sufficiency as well as well-being.
That's pretty great. And Tracey, give us your critique of how is it going in that hub operation. Are you finding that it's really enhancing our service to clients?
I really do. I truly do. So oftentimes we see a gap, right, or returning clients, whereas they come into our system for one resource, and then, weeks or months later, we see them come again for different services. And so coming to creating a hub approach will kind of service that client to get them well on their way to promote, their well-being and self-sufficiency.
That's beautiful.
Well, and
Yeah.
you have so much experience at Catholic Charities and warmth and knowledge that I can't help but think that you're just in a perfect position to be a leader with this transition to this centralized location where people can get all the services they need on an ongoing basis. I can't help but think you're a perfect person for that position, Tracey.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Tracey, thank you so much for being on the show with us. Tracey Blackburn with the Catholic Charities Burial Assistance Program, and best wishes for you in the continuation of this increasingly important program. We're going to take a break on the Voice of Charity. When we come back, we're going to pivot a little and talk to another guest about the Catholic Charities Junior Board. So stick with us. You're listening to the Voice of Charity.
It will be a special night to remember on Friday, December 1st at Catholic Charities 2023 Spirit of St. Nicholas Ball at the Chicago Hilton. The Spirit of St. Nicholas Ball is one of the most elegant galas of the holiday season in Chicago, and proceeds provide critical funding for our programs and services into the new year. Gather your families, friends, and work colleagues for an extraordinary black tie event to celebrate the Christmas season. Enjoy an opening reception, gourmet meal, and live entertainment courtesy of the Ken Arlen Orchestra, all in support of Catholic Charities. Don't miss this special night for a great cause on Friday, December 1st. To purchase tickets and learn about sponsorships for the Spirit of St. Nicholas Ball, visit CatholicCharities.net or call 312-948-6864. That's 312-948-6864.
This is year 44 for me teaching. When I started here, there were teachers here that had taught me when I was a student. Now I'm the old person. Right now, I teach junior high math. I love when kids find what I'm teaching to be fun and they get it. I see that light bulb go off and it's a thrill. People are always amazed. What? You're here for 44 years? It's hard for me to believe, frankly. I love what I do. Every summer I think, oh, I miss the classroom. Even on the weekends, I think I can't wait to get back on Monday and teach those quadratic equations.
Shape the next generation of leaders. Teach. Apply today at archchicago.org/schooljobs.
Welcome back to The Voice of Charity. I am Phil Zepeda with my co-host Katie Bredemann, and we're turning the tides a little bit on this program. We've split topics, and we're going to talk now about Catholic Charities Junior Board and have invited the delightful, the effervescent Brittany McGee to join us. Brittany is the Catholic Charities Senior Director of Mission Engagement, who's going to give us an update on the Junior Board. There she is. Good morning, Brittany. How are you doing this morning? Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Phil, and good morning, Katie. Thank you so much for the invitation to join.
Absolutely. So Brittany, just let's lay it out there. Give us an update on the Catholic Charities Junior Board and all the great things that are happening there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So obviously, as we approach the beginning of the Advent season and the new year, many of us, particularly young professionals, in our community and city, are seeking opportunities to enrich their lives, grow in their spirituality, and meet new friends and acquaintances. So I'm really excited to be here with everyone this morning and talk briefly about the Junior Board at Catholic Charities. For those that don't know, the Junior Board at Catholic Charities has had a storied history of being the home for young professionals from ages 21 to 45 across the greater Chicago, who are passionate about the mission of charity and seeking personal and spiritual growth. The Junior Board is comprised of young professionals from diverse backgrounds and professions, young men and women who are native Chicagoans, transplants to our great city, or here studying or working for a short time. And grounded in faith, our Junior Board allows young professionals to encounter and deepen their understanding of social justice, serve our vulnerable community neighbors, and enrich our society, all while making new friends and growing their network and engaging in new ideas of faith, mercy, and equity. So the Junior Board meets triannually. So we gather 3 times a year as an all-member board and have socialization and provide updates on the vast work of Catholic Charities across Cook and Lake counties, much of the work that we talk about on Voice of Charity each and every week. We also have monthly volunteer service engagements. So these range from serving in our evening suppers program to taking over Santa's workshop as a part of our celebration of Christmas giving campaign. So there are several opportunities for young professionals to be engaged on a monthly basis and directly serve and walk alongside our vulnerable and disenfranchised neighbors. We're uniquely able to provide our young professionals an opportunity to serve together, to have an opportunity to grow together in the understanding of faith in action and works of mercy, and also to see and experience inequity in our society and in our city.
I know, Brittany, that I was going to say, I know, Brittany, that they everybody in the Junior Board is very committed to service and the mission of Catholic Charities, but they also have a lot of fun together too. You know, there's many events that are just all about, you know, socialization and connecting like-minded young professionals in the city of Chicago, right?
Absolutely. So while many of our young professionals come to us because they are, you know, informed and really influenced by their Catholic faith, we welcome all young professionals, folks who are spiritually curious, and folks who are really looking to grow that network and their friend group, right? So as you noted, Katie, so many of our events are networking mixers. We have monthly opportunities for our young professionals to get together for a happy hour and enjoy, again, deep conversation while perhaps having a glass of wine or a beer. And we've had, you know, members of the Junior Board who really enriched their friendships and been able to maintain those relationships for years and years. So
Can
we
you
know
tell-
at a time where young folks are really searching and eager and hungry for community and for friendship and for community and companionship. We're really glad that our junior board offers that space for folks to come together and get to know each other.
Can you tell us what's coming up in early 2024?
Absolutely. So we are going to have our next triennial meeting in just a couple of short weeks in December. And then our next meeting will be in the very early spring. So we will have our all-member meeting. And again, this is anyone who's a part of the junior board or who's interested in joining can come and learn more about the work of Catholic Charities. We are also continuing in the new year the junior board's support for the Catholic Charities wide diaper depot. Catholic Charities has for many, many years been in service to moms and families experiencing vulnerability through providing new and clean diapers to help economically vulnerable families support their young babies. And so we're thrilled to have had our junior board be a strong participant and champion of this initiative at Catholic Charities beginning this year. So far, our junior board has collected over 9,000 diapers for vulnerable moms and babies. And so we're really excited to continue that momentum in the new year. We collect diapers through our Amazon storefront for our junior board. And then we also have packing events where members of our junior board come and sort the diapers into respective sizes and prepare them to be distributed to moms and families.
It's so great because with the junior board, you can dip in and dip out. The level of commitment is really up to you. So it's an open invitation to anybody that really wants to get deeply involved or you want to get occasionally involved amongst a group of really mission-oriented, driven people. So thank you so much for this background. Brittany, if people want to find out more information, how do they get that?
Please, if you would like to join the junior board or come to an event or volunteer with us, please email juniorboard@catholiccharities.net.
Brittany, thank you so much for being on the show today. The Junior Board really is one of the greatest professional networks in Chicago, and you are doing a great job helping it expand even more.
Absolutely. We look forward to having you back and talking more about this great program and everyone that's involved in it. And all of our listeners and everybody watching our live stream, we invite you back again next week for another edition of The Voice of Charity. For now, I'm Phil Zepeda with Katie Bredemann, and we thank you for tuning in and believing in the mission of Catholic Charities.
Join us every Monday through Friday at this time for Catholic Chicago. You can stream our programs live or listen to past programs by visiting our website, archchicago.org, and clicking on Radio TV. And please connect with Catholic Chicago on social media.